Jorge Posada, who was teammates with Alex Rodriguez from 2004 to 2011 with the Yankees, was asked on CBS This Morning on Wednesday if the records of players who use performance-enhancing drugs are tainted. Here's what he had to say.
Should players who are known to have used steroids, should they be in the Hall of Fame?
No.
No.
No. No, I don't think it's fair for the guys that have been in the Hall of Fame that were play the game clean.
Even an Alex Rodriguez?
Yeah, I don't think it's fair. I really don't. I think the guys that need to be in the Hall of Fame needs to be a player that played with no controversy.
Have you told him that?
No.
No. Would he be surprised to hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. All right. He would be surprised to hear it. He's obviously heard it now. A-Rod was asked about those comments, Stephen A., about what Posada had to say. In your opinion, were his comments fair or foul?
They were fair. They were not foul at all, but I still respectfully disagree. Jorge Posada is a four-time champion with the New York Yankees, a member of the Core Four. We all know what a diehard Yankee fan I am. I just interviewed Jorge Posada the other day. Loved him, loved talking to him. You know how grateful I am for those great years, the New York Yankees with him, Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettit and the crew gave me. I'm eternally grateful. But I respectfully disagree with him on this matter. I'm not interested in hanging out with Alex Rodriguez, certainly not having him over for dinner. I think he's a pathological liar. I think he threw people under the bus. I think both he and Ryan Braun should be ashamed of themselves for how they acted in their zest to cover their lies so much, the people that they were willing to hurt in the process. So when I see them exercising any level of contrition, to me it shouldn't be for performance-enhancing drug use. It should be because of the individuals they were willing to throw under the bus to cover up their PED use. That's my problem with both of them. You know me, Skip. I'm of the mindset people were mad at A-Rod for using PEDs. I'm mad at him for not continuing it past September because so many Octobers he didn't show up. I'm like, if you're going to do it, damn it, continue doing it through October. Deliver me a couple of more World Series as opposed to stopping in September. That's my annoyance with Alex Rodriguez. But with that being said, I do think it's important to note this, Skip. Alex Rodriguez, everybody ain't smacking home runs. That Mitchell report had over 100 names, 103 to be exact. How many people smacked over 660 home runs? He's at 662 and counting. He has a lifetime batting average of 299. I can't ignore those kind of numbers. And when you take into account the fact that there was once upon a time, for a significant chunk of that time, in baseball where PEDs were not being tested for, the owners didn't seem to care. It was basically allowed. Well, the belief was no rules were really being broken. It wasn't until the game was changed in terms of more of an emphasis placed on, you know, eradicating supplements and the like, and it came to the forefront where Congress had them on Capitol Hill in 2005, and this movement that was preempted by former Commissioner Bud Selig. It wasn't until all of that stuff came about that this came into the mind's eye of the American public. So the bottom line is, for the vast majority of Alex Rodriguez's 21 years in Major League Baseball, he actually wasn't breaking rules. He was actually going along with what everybody else presumably was doing. So when I take that into consideration, I'm going to tell you that Alex Rodriguez may not be a first ballot Hall of Famer because you want to send a message about PED use, but at the same time, try to paint him out to be. And as a result, I think ultimately you have to put him and, of course, Barry Bonds and others into the Hall of Fame, because this wasn't an issue for so many years until after Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa had chased Roger Maris's single-season home run record. There was a chunk of time before that when this wasn't an issue at all, and Alex Rodriguez was smacking those home runs. So I'm going to say that eventually he will be a Hall of Famer, and he will deserve to be a Hall of Famer.
You omitted the name of Roger Clemens.
That's true.
Okay, and again, Posada threw in Clemens with A-Rod, and that was the only thing that was foul to me. It's fair for him to take his stand, but I'm not sure Clemens belongs in the same sentence with A-Rod, and I know some people will disagree.
Yeah.
But listen, when I look at what Roger Clemens did pre-PEDs, I think, in Boston, just take his Boston days alone, and you win 3 Cy Youngs, and you lead the league in ERA 4 times, 3 times in strikeouts, you win 3 times 20 games in a season, and you have the 20 strikeout performance against Seattle. Those are Hall of Fame numbers already. And then Dan Duquette dumps him, and he goes to Toronto. And then Brian McNamee testified. That's when Roger came to me and said, I need a little help here. And it started, I think, in Toronto, at least if you go on the testimony of McNamee. But did Roger lie after that? Well, then we know the controversy started. I get all that.
Right.
But again, it's like Barry Bonds. I look at Barry Bonds pre-PEDs, I'm pretty sure the skinnier Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer already.
Yes, he was.
Okay, so that's just me on both Clemens and Bonds.
Gentlemen, they asked A-Rod about what Posada said. He said, I consider Georgie, as mentioned, a friend. Georgie's always wore his heart on his sleeve, and that's fine. He was a great teammate, a great player for a long time. I have nothing but great memories, including winning a championship. A-Rod saying all the right things these days, right?
He needs to.
That's, of course, the case. We leave it there. When we come back, we're talking about dealing with Deflategate. Isn't the only concern for the Patriots. They have other concerns. Their roster continues to shrink. What's next for the Pats? Stick around, folks. We'll be right back. Download and subscribe to the new podcast, Be Honest. It's available on iTunes and the ESPN radio app. This week, we talk about self-doubt. Am I good enough? How does that relate to one Tom Brady? Download the podcast and find out. Speaking of the Patriots, 2 days after being released by the Patriots, the Ravens signed Kyle Arrington to a 3-year deal. After winning the Super Bowl, the Patriots have lost this. Take a look. Darrelle Revis, Brandon Browner, and free agency. They also got rid of Alfonso Dennard. So, Skip, how much trouble are the Patriots in at corner?
Stephen A., I would have to say a whole lot of trouble. I'm lost here. I'm baffled. I know that Bill Belichick has a plan. I just, at this moment, can't quite imagine what that plan would be. Because obviously you go from Revis and Browner to, I'm thinking, okay, well, Alfonso Dennard was in the doghouse last year, but he's been a starter before. I'm okay with him. Kyle Arrington had some trouble in the Super Bowl, but he started a lot of games, so I'm okay with him. And obviously Malcolm Butler, the Super Bowl hero from nowhere. Maybe he'll emerge and be a star. I don't know.
No Darrelle Revis.
And that's what I'm saying. And then all of a sudden they cut Dennard, and then they cut Kyle Arrington, saying, well, maybe they'll bring him back. And then the Ravens jump in and sign him. And I'm thinking, okay, wait. Now we're down to Malcolm Butler and Bradley Fletcher, the ex-Eagle, who got so torched by my Cowboys and Des Bryant that it forced you to wear a Tony Romo jersey. That's the guy. That's who's most responsible, Bradley Fletcher, for you wearing a Tony Romo jersey, and now he could be a starter for my New England Patriots. Malcolm Butler and wait, Bradley Fletcher? What is up with that?
That could be a superstar tandem. You never know.
Well, well, first of all, I didn't know that we were talking about the San Antonio Spurs. I thought it was football instead of basketball because you sound like the same brat that talks about the San Antonio Spurs. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. We understand that they lost Revis, they lost Browner, they lost Wilfork. We get all of that. Obviously, that's a big loss, and there's reasons to be concerned about their defense. But they still have Belichick, and we've got to believe that somehow, some way, he's going to find a way at least to keep them respectable. From the offensive side of the ball, they're returning practically everybody of significance. When you combine that with the fact that they were they scored the 4th most points in the NFL at over 29 points a game last year, I definitely think that's something to take into consideration. You still have Edelman, you still have Amendola, you still have Gronkowski, okay, you still have Blunt, you will have Brady, whether it be after 2 games, after 4 games, or all 16 games. We have yet to find out, but they'll be highly motivated. They're returning about 18 starters. So when I look at it from that perspective, Skip, if the only thing of concern I have for the Patriots is the fact that they took a shot at Hartline out of Miami. He signed elsewhere. They took a shot at Reggie Bush. He signed elsewhere. I forgot who else it was. I think Percy Harvin. He ended up going to Buffalo. You had about 13 or 15 top free agent cornerbacks out there available who signed elsewhere. None of them were with New England. So I look at it from that perspective and I say, I'm shocked that people wouldn't gravitate to a world champion who obviously is being led by an exceptional Hall of Fame coach in Bill Belichick. That's cause for concern. But outside of that, in the end, the nucleus of their team, for the most part, remains intact. To win a Super Bowl, maybe not. But to win the AFC East again, get back to the postseason, I don't think there's too much reason for concern in that regard.
Oh, okay, I get it that they could win a lot of games 49-48, but you're omitting the fact that your biggest target on this show last year, Bradley Fletcher, could now be a starter for the New England Patriots defending championship
I don't know if he was the biggest target.
He was.
Well,
he was all
well,
over
I agree
him.
with that, but it's a difference between playing for Chip Kelly and playing for Bill Belichick.
Well, that's fair, and I hope you're right about that. But
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe there's some ace in the hole we're not seeing.
I'm sure Belichick has something going on. We've got to wrap the show. Stephen A., since you're in Chicago, the game is official tonight, so I'm assuming that we will all watch. Make sure that he's there. Make sure you watch on ESPN. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll see you. Have a good afternoon. Here's what he had to say.
Should players who are known to have used steroids, should they be in the Hall of Fame?
No.
No.
No. No, I don't think it's fair for the guys that have been in the Hall of Fame that were play the game clean.
Even an Alex Rodriguez?
Yeah, I don't think it's fair. I really don't. I think the guys that need to be in the Hall of Fame need to be a player that played with no controversy.
Have you told him that?
No.
No. Would he be surprised to hear it?
Oh yeah.
Wow. All right. He would be surprised to hear it. He's obviously heard it now. A-Rod was asked about those comments. Jorge Posada, who was teammates with Alex Rodriguez from 2004 to 2011 with the Yankees, was asked on CBS this morning on Wednesday if the records of players who use performance-enhancing drugs are tainted. And Stephen A. About what Posada had to say. In your opinion, were his comments fair or foul?
They were fair. They were not foul at all, but I still respectfully disagree. Jorge Posada